Welcome back to Hot Stocks. A low-cost airline One Time has a market cap of only 39 million rand. It operates the more nice, less price discount airline One Time and also has an aircraft maintenance business. Its management team has recently been changed and it is expanding its routes to include a link to Zanzibar from South Africa. No profits and no dividend on One Time. So no profits and no dividend on One Time. Like I said, also undergoing some sort of change management. We've got Blackie Komani now as CEO.
Yeah, and he certainly appears to know the industry well. He worked in the US and had something to do with JetBlue, which is one of the successful US airlines. But I mean, it's an interesting story. It listed on the AltX back in 2007, 2008. And the guy who behind it was a guy called Glenn Osmond and some mates of his, ex-Comair guys. Leasing the planes, so no ownership of the planes, which basically means you're just paying somebody a monthly fee to basically rent the plane. So older planes, really going after that discount model, good website. The trouble is really, I mean, it had its day and then since then it's taken a dive. So in this period here, it was enjoying quite strong earnings and it looked very cheap. But since then, it's run into a couple of trouble. We know that Velvet Sky and some others in this market, South Africa, have basically crashed. If you look at their financials, their most valuable asset One Time is the airline tickets that they've sold for the future. But you know, that money actually belongs to someone else. You're sitting with the cash, but you still got to deliver the service. So it looks a bit dodge. The air structure of the shareholding has changed as well. Excalibur, which has got links to Aurora Empowerment Systems, is a big shareholder. There's some other guys that have been acquiring shares, but it's sitting down at around 10, 14 cents a share. I think they operate a good, honest service in the marketplace. But as far as the listed entity concerned, there are a couple of alarm bells there.
So alarm bells on One Time. Craig, like Paul is saying, is looking a bit dodge. At 14 cents, is this the stock that you'd be getting into?
Yeah, again, it's a comment on the sector, and I think if you look at the comparison, I wasn't hot on Comair, certainly wouldn't be hot on One Time because they've declined NAV, whereas Comair have actually managed to increase the NAV even through difficult times. And I understand now that they're in the process of buying some Boeing 737s, which will also help them be more efficient. And the problem, though, is obviously I anticipate that there's either going to have to be a rights issue or some form of capital raising going forward. They've also been quite fortunate with some of their routes where they were able to charge good margins for a low-cost airline. East London's one that comes to mind. It's only SA Express and One Time that fly that route. Both East London, Joburg, East London, Cape Town, etc. So it's quite a story where they're relying on some of these routes, and if you get extra competition, I think it's going to affect them quite negatively. So the immediate future doesn't look too rosy for me.
So you are not hot on this one, Craig?
Not hot at all, no.
So not hot on One Time for Craig. Paul, hot or not on One Time?
No, I'd have to agree with that. Not hot. Watch with interest, fly with them by all means, but don't book a ticket too far out, and stay away from the share price. So not hot.